Some people keep their phone close for years. Not because they're waiting for news, but because one call was supposed to change everything. Some people never say they are waiting. Not because they are hiding something, but because waiting has slowly blended into the shape of their lives. It no longer feels like an action or a decision. It feels like a quiet posture that was adopted long ago and never questioned again. They keep their phone nearby, not with urgency, not with visible anxiety, but with a subtle attentiveness that never completely fades. The phone becomes less an object and more a quiet symbol. A small placeholder for something that might arrive one day, something that was once expected clearly and is now expected quietly. There is no restlessness, no checking every few minutes, no outward sign of anticipation. What exists instead is preparation without movement. An internal arrangement where space has already been made for a sound that has not yet happened. This kind of waiting does not interrupt life. It integrates into it. And because it looks calm, it often goes unnoticed, even by the person experiencing it. When people imagine that call, they are rarely imagining the conversation itself. The words are secondary. What matters is what the call would represent. It would confirm something that was left uncertain. It would acknowledge a connection that faded without explanation. It would repair a silence that never officially ended. The call is not about curiosity. It is not about catching up or exchanging information. It is about closure that was never offered. About hearing, even briefly, that what existed was real enough to deserve a response. In this way, the call becomes symbolic. It stands in for validation, reconnection, and emotional repair all at once. It becomes the imagined moment where ambiguity finally takes a clear shape. Not necessarily a comforting one, but a defined one. Something that allows the mind to stop filling in the gaps on its own. Time does not pause while waiting continues. Days move forward quietly. Weeks settle into routines. Months pass without any noticeable shift. And somewhere along the way, the waiting adjusts itself to the rhythm of daily life rather than disrupting it. The person remains ready, but not actively. Ready in the way a room remains arranged for a guest who was expected long ago. Prepared, but no longer alert. The anticipation softens, but it does not disappear. There is no conclusion, no decisive moment where the waiting ends. Instead, there is postponement layered upon postponement. The call is never officially cancelled. It is simply delayed again and again, until delay itself becomes familiar. And because the possibility is never fully denied, it never fully leaves. Over time, the person stops waiting for the phone to ring. They become someone who waits. The posture settles in. The silence becomes predictable. Life grows around this quiet center without ever addressing it directly. The phone stops being checked. The sound stops being anticipated consciously. But the internal arrangement remains unchanged. The expectation no longer announces itself. It simply exists in the background, shaping how closeness is measured, how endings are interpreted, and how much uncertainty feels acceptable. Silence stops feeling temporary and starts feeling structural. Not painful. Not dramatic. Just present. Like a door that remains unlocked, even though no one has walked through it in years. It is not held open with hope anymore, but with habit. Eventually, the call does not come. Not in a way that feels final. It simply fails to arrive repeatedly, until absence itself becomes familiar. But the expectation does not vanish alongside it. Instead, it spreads quietly into other areas of life. It begins to influence decisions without announcing itself. How much hope is invested elsewhere? How long people wait before speaking? How often situations are left unresolved, just in case something returns. This influence is not experienced as active pain. It is experienced as a background tone. A low, steady presence beneath choices, relationships, and emotional posture. Something that does not demand attention, but consistently shapes the environment in which decisions are made. This story is not about losing hope. It is about recognizing the weight of what never happened. Some things do not end loudly. They do not arrive clearly. They simply remain unspoken long enough to become part of who we are. And sometimes, understanding that is not about closure at all. It is about noticing what has been quietly carried for far longer than we realized.